Hello and welcome to You, Me and Tea, a mini masterclass. Today is going to be a mini masterclass on specialty tea and health. I'll give you a little introduction to the business, my business and who I am, and then we'll look at what specialty means in tea, a bit of history about tea as well, and then we'll look at all the health benefits. There's a lot of maybe a bit of myth busting around tea as well. There's some amazing facts. It's really hard to kind of cram so much into 15-20 minutes. After 15 years in the industry, you pick up so much, and so today's been really good to kind of refine this and really focus on some key facts about tea. So I hope you enjoy this. Before I start that, I want to ask you a question. What does tea mean to you? Everybody's going to have a different image here or a different feeling, and to me it can be functional, it can be about mood, maybe it can be time of day, it can be social as well. So, and I suppose, depending on your upbringing or where you grew up geographically as well, tea's going to mean different things. So South Africa, it's going to be rooibos as a standard tea. UK and Ireland is going to be a black breakfast tea, maybe with milk and sugar. India is going to be spiced. There's so many different varieties of tea around the world, which is what I find really interesting. Plus the social, the kind of social aspect of enjoying tea together as well, which is what this is about. So if you don't have a cuppa, go and get one. Pause this, go and get a cuppa, and we'll enjoy this together. So, a little bit about myself first. 20 years ago, I moved to Northern Ireland. 15 years ago, I set up this business with a really good friend of mine, Annie, and we set up tea business to to bring a better quality tea to the market. It was a kind of mini rebellion in a way. We really loved good quality coffee in coffee shops, but a tea bag being thrown in the cup just didn't cut it for us. So we thought there must be a better way, and so then Suki Tea started. 15 years down the line, it's turned into something else. We export to 22 countries now. So we sell online, we sell to cafes, restaurants, bars, hotels. We also have a kind of an offshoot, which is an education program. Suki Tea set up something called the Specialty Tea Training Association, and I've also been just made the board, one of the directors for the European Specialty Tea Association. Education's a big part of specialty tea these days. I have a family. I have a 5-year-old boy, and I just celebrated my 20-year anniversary yesterday. So happily married. Tea and health is if we go right back to history, and I want to cover tea. I think it's really apt to cover tea and health today. But if I go right back to history, there's lots of different myths around how tea started. One of my favourite is the legend of Shen Nung. He's a Chinese emperor, and he was a botanist as well. 2737 BC, he said that it gave him vigour of body and spirit of mind, and when he tried tea, it made him feel rejuvenated, refreshed, relaxed and revived. And so for centuries, tea was used as a medicinal plant and for meditative purposes. I suppose let's kind of frame this a little bit. I'm talking about specialty tea, and there's no snobbery here. I mean, there's a kind of commodity side of tea, which is machine cut and machine processed, and then generally put into tea bags. And then there's hand-picked tea, and that's what I mean by specialty. And that's really just talking about the evergreen shrub. So tea is an evergreen shrub. It's called Camellia sinensis. There's two types. One's called Camellia sinensis, and it's a tiny leaf. It loves high misty areas like Darjeeling and Nepal. And then there's Camellia sinensis assamica, and that's a much bigger leaf. And this shrub really likes hardy, hot, humid environments like Assam or Kenya. And that's what you'd have in your breakfast tea. More robust as a flavour. Okay, on to tea and health. So I really wanted to cover this today because I think it's very apt right now. Everybody's in the current situation, everybody's paying a lot more attention to their health and their diet. So tea's thought to be the most consumed drink in the world after water. But what is it that makes tea so healthy? I mean, okay, so it's an excellent source of hydration. It's hugely important, which is hugely important to our health and our well-being. Just the ritual of taking time out to drink tea can be beneficial to our well-being as well. The idea of, portioning a little bit of time. If you're throwing a tea bag in a cup and it's functional, then that's okay. But if you have a teapot and some loose leaf and you're taking time out to make that part of your day, then there's almost a meditative element to it as well. A bit of mystique around the ritual and ceremony of it. But we now know that there's a lot of other health benefits to tea as well. So here's some of the facts. So we talk about minerals in tea. There are 3 key minerals which are important to our diet. So fluoride, manganese and potassium. Fluoride's good for maintaining healthy bones, as is manganese. Also good for body development. Potassium is good for maintaining body fluid levels. And there's caffeine in tea as well. So caffeine has about 40 milligrams compared to coffee, which is about 200. If you think of the difference between caffeine and coffee, which is like there's a really high peak and then a big crash at the end. Well, because of the makeup of the chemical of caffeine in tea and the other chemicals that bond to it, it's a slow release caffeine. So you have this it releases into your body slowly and then leaves your system slowly as well. So that's why it's always deemed maybe better for focus. There are lots of exciting studies underway for health benefits of tea, particularly around the fact that it boosts good bacteria, and quite a lot of studies being done on antiviral properties as well. How the antioxidants in tea, called catechins or polyphenols, may act as potential inhibitors against a diverse array of viruses. Those studies are being done right now. We look forward to hearing about them. Most studies are done on green tea. So everybody thinks, oh, green tea is healthy for you. I'm going to drink more green tea, I'm going to be healthy. Actually, what the studies are leading towards is that black tea is equally as healthy for you. It's just that the chemical composition of green tea is really simple. Once it turns to black tea, once that process happens at the factory and it goes from green to black, then it becomes about 10 times more complex to study. So scientists don't. They much prefer studying green tea. So that's why we have an abundant amount of research saying green tea is good for you. So again, we look forward to receiving those studies, and hopefully it says that all tea is good for you. So we've looked at caffeine, we've looked at the minerals, but there's one particular chemical that in tea that I find fascinating, and it's unique to tea. It's an amino acid called L-theanine. So amino acids are building blocks of protein. Proteins are found in every cell of your body. So your muscles, your immune system, your organs, and 50% of the amino acids found in tea are L-theanine. So it's unique to the plant, it's unique to our diet, and what this chemical does for us is this component elevates dopamine and serotonin. consider those happy hormones, really. Dopamine's important chemical messenger in the brain. It has many functions. It's involved in reward, memory, motivation, and particularly attention. And serotonin is an important chemical and neurotransmitter in the human body. And this helps regulate mood, appetite, and sleep. So these two components alone have huge impacts on well-being. There's a caveat to all this. Like, we're not doctors. we just find this side of tea fascinating. And there's a lot of bad science out there, kind of fad diets, 14-day detox, T-tox kind of programs. But these are the facts. So that's why I'm going to stick to those. They're great. So I've got a myth-busting fact, which blows my mind every time I think about it, and that is that there is no tannin in tea. What you can taste when you brew tea is caffeine. That's the bitterness. That's the astringency that you get. So, and here's my tip for the day: is that if you're brewing green tea, then you need to, it's during the process of creating green tea, it's never hit really high temperatures. It's the moisture's taken out of the leaf about 70-75 degrees. So if you put boiling water on it, it freaks out, all the starch is released and it becomes quite bitter. And that is the caffeine that you can taste. The starchiness, the leaf and the caffeine. So you want to brew green tea around 75 to 80 degrees. It's a lot nicer, trust me. So yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. I could go on and on about tea. I have lots of different t-shirts which say tea geek on them. Science, the health and science behind tea is something that we're just, as a business, we're just kind of dipping our toe into. But some really interesting topics there, and I hope some of that's been of interest to you. Next time you drink your everyday cuppa, think about all of those healthy minerals and mood elevating properties that it has. Hi, we're going to look at how to make a cup of tea now. I mean, that seems quite simple, we could just get a cup, throw a tea bag in, water, done. That's not what we're doing today. We're going to look at the best way to make green tea with a teapot. So I've chosen a tea today. This is one of my favourites at the moment. It's called Genmaicha, which stands for brown rice tea. Very popular Japanese green tea. I have some water, which is just pre-prepared, a teapot, which has an infuser inside it, and a measuring spoon. I'm not going to weigh it because I'm not that fussy. But if you were going to weigh it, you're looking around 3 grams per 200 ml. So, one good healthy scoop of my brown rice tea. So this tea is a mixture between tea leaf and rice, and it's kind of popped. Sometimes it's known as popcorn tea. That's going to go in the pot. I'm not going to use boiling water. Boiling water will make this, it'll draw out all the astringency in it, and it'll make it very bitter. So I turn my kettle on, I let it gurgle, and then I turn it off. And I know that's going to be around 75-80 degrees. So I'm going to pop that in now like that. So there's a few things to note so far. You've got the amount of water, the temperature, that's quite key. And time is also going to be a factor in making this an enjoyable or a not so enjoyable cuppa. So I'm going to leave this for around 4 minutes. I've got my cup, fast forward 4 minutes, and that's me. I'm going to pour it. I'm not going to add milk to green tea, it doesn't really go very well. But each to their own. Tea is so subjective. There's no right or wrong with it, really. there's just a few guiding principles in how to make tea better and enjoy it. You're going to have your own ritual, you're going to have your own favourite. So enjoy the next cup of tea, or enjoy tea forever actually, not just the next cup of tea that you have. I hope today's been of interest. Thank you again to Belfast, Mela, me and Tea. And if you have any questions about what we've covered today, please get in touch. I'd be happy to hear from you.